Profanity Nation.
Yeah, it's the new era of man for some old school fans with a new school brand. We got money on the mic with the plan in hand. And Stat Pat to his left, they go hand in hand. And to the right, we got Simpster, he putting it down. It's the Profanity Nation, we running the town, yeah.
It's the Profanity Nation.
Profanity Nation.
Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Profanity Nation podcast, where we are the voice of the professional fan. We are here every week, and as usual, I am joined here by my co-host, Stat Pat. How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
You good? I'm feeling good. Money Mike is not with us. He is traveling for the holidays, so we have our man that we can rely on, and you all know him well, Fredo Cervantes. How are you, Fredo?
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. How you guys doing today?
I'm good. I'd be doing better if we could go ahead and talk some good stuff about the Lakers.
Yes, well, it seems like we might.
It doesn't matter really what happens today.
Whatever happens today, we still gonna be 500.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right. True, very true.
It's still not exactly where we want to be. But if you watch the show, then you know that we always start the Profanity Nation podcast with our guy, Marco Nunez. So let's go ahead and bring him on with no further ado. Hey, Marco, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. So Money Mike is not with us this week. However, we do have questions for you. We're going to start with our guy, Stat Pat. He actually gets to talk this week because, as you know, Money Mike usually hogs that mic. He literally gets upset when we ask too many questions. He's like, wait a minute, this is my segment.
He's like, literally this is my segment. Like,
yeah.
He acts like we don't have any questions to ask you, but that's okay.
Yeah, all right.
I got my time to shine.
There you go, Stat. So go ahead, please.
Okay, so us in Lakerland, we're waiting for two guys to come back, Kendrick Nunn and also Trevor Ariza. Now that it's a sad state of affairs when Lakers are putting their hopes on Kendrick Nunn and Trevor Ariza, like they're going to turn it around. But here we are, right? So Kendrick Nunn, he actually has they said a bone bruise in the knee, and he's going to get reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, I don't really know what that entails. I know when I get a thigh bruise or something like my knee, I get knee in the thigh, it's like really deep, like muscle.
It's like a Charlie horse, but when it's not,
but when they talk about like a bone bruise, like, and also why it's taking a while to come back. Like, what are the trainers looking for, and what do they need to see to get him back on the court?
So a bone bruise and a muscle bruise are kind of two completely things type of thing. One, the advantage of having a bruise to the muscle is that you have a great blood supply to that area. So there's blood going in there. There's, it's getting rid of some of the toxins. They need the lactic acid. There's proteins, minerals, you name it. It's going in. There's just the healing process is huge. That's why, a muscle strain kind of heals. A bone bruise, on the other hand, is just inflammation to that bone, even though there's blood inside the area. But there's limited blood going in kind of to that area. So it takes a little bit longer to heal. That's why bone bruises, and the thing that sucks about it is that they're very, very unpredictable. Some people will come back in a week. Some people can take up to 3 months to actually be like, hey, I can actually play. The second thing you got to consider is where the location of the bone bruise is in the knee. Because anytime the player, especially in the sport like basketball, where you're constantly running and jumping and landing, they can constantly irritate that area. And if you constantly hit it, he might feel pretty good. But then if he keeps pounding on it, the next day it could be sore. Now he has another setback. So I think that's one of the issues that they have to be very considerate about, is that he has to go out there, practice, scrimmage, and all that stuff, and see how he reacts the next day or the next 48 hours to make sure he's fine type thing. Second thing is that if he's having some discomfort or a little bit of inflammation, he can create some compensatory patterns, which then can lead to a bigger injury, and that's what you don't want. So you have to be very cautious. You're right. Everybody's like, hey, I've had a Charlie horse. I sucked it up. I was sore the next day, but I was back in 2-3 days. It's different, unfortunately. I wish I could say, hey, it's the same thing, but it's not. And that's the thing about bone bruises. They're very delicate, they're very unpredictable, and they're very hard to kind of see where they're at. And that's why they say they're going to evaluate him every single day. He'll probably practice or scrimmage a little bit, and then you have to wait 24 hours to see how he reacts.
Okay. Now, you did say something earlier about just right now about players overcompensating when they have like one injury somewhere. I remember like a while back with Shaq when he was on the team, he had an injury. I think he had messed up his knee. It was like he only was out for like 2 weeks on that one knee that was, I think, had a slight tear. And what he was doing, he was like overcompensating to the fact that he basically was putting all this like weight on the other leg.
Correct.
And he was then out for like 4 to 6 weeks because he was hurt more because he was just trying to, didn't want to put too much pressure on the injured knee. And so, maybe he didn't trust the knee strong enough to go ahead and go for it. So I can see what you're saying. Like, you got to watch out for that kind of stuff, especially, when it comes to the bruise and in the range of motion. And so that leads me to Trevor Ariza. And so Trevor Ariza has, they said, arthroscopic debridement. I think I'm saying it right. Debridement surgery on his ankle. And I did a little research on it, but I still don't know what the world that is about. And we're waiting on him. He's been out for the whole season, just like Kendrick Nunn has been. And so what is that? Can you walk us through what a debridement surgery or arthroscopic debridement surgery is, and what is the timetable for him to come out?
So arthroscopic, it's pronounced arthroscopic debridement, and debris meaning like debris, trash, so to speak. So when they do a debridement on an athlete, whether it's a knee or an ankle, it's basically because the athlete has wear and tear in that joint or the ankle, whether it's arthritis, whether he has a bone spur, whether he has scarring, or there's something in there that's been kind of bugging the players, been hurting the players hasn't been able to move properly in every type of state. So the debridement, they go in there and kind of just basically clean up the knee, clean up the ankle, whatever it is, to try to see what's causing it. Now, the other issue is how is he reacting to it? Were they able to get everything in there that they were able to get? Does he still have some kind of issues type of thing? The prime example here was with I think who was it, Mookie Betts with the Dodgers. He had a little bit of a bone spur in there. Normally they'll go in there kind of clean it up, but because it was towards the end of the playoff season, they wanted to wait and see how he reacted on that part. So right now, also you got to consider Trevor Ariza is not a young player anymore. He wasn't back in the 08, so he's a little bit older, so he probably has other issues going on in there that they're trying to kind of rehab him back and be very, very careful. Now, granted, when I was there, Trevor Ariza was a great player. He was a great player coming off the bench. He's one of our key players coming off the bench when we won that championship against the Orlando Magic, or we did that playoff run. And I've seen him play here and there. Can he still do that like he did? Probably not, but he's a very smart and talented player that he could probably still contribute off the bench. So I'm guessing they want to kind of bring him in slowly and make sure that he's healthy when he does come back.
Nice.
So it makes sense that maybe they're looking at Trevor more as a playoff.
Correct, and he is. I mean, that's one thing I noticed as far as when you get to the playoffs, you want players that have been in the playoff, scenario, because they feel more comfortable and you're able to rely on them more versus players that have never been in that scenario. Because the playoffs and the regular season are two complete different worlds, and that's a thing that a lot of people don't understand. Round 1 is different. Round 2 is more intense. Round 3 is really intense, and the finals is just like forget about it. Especially if you're a young player, you've never been around in the playoffs and in the media. When you walk out there, that court with the media is like packed compared to the regular season. The regular season, you get a couple of minutes here, but playoffs, forget about it. I mean, the pressure that you feel is a little bit intense. So you want players that have been in that environment and they can kind of go with it.
Okay, and Marco, so I guess would this make sense if we wait until, like, say we just keep him on ice, till we get to the playoffs. The schedule should pretty much help him in his recovery, not playing, on back-to-back days and playing every other day and stuff like that. I mean, because I think he is 36 right now. I'm saying that like he's an old guy, yeah. So but we're talking about like in basketball terms, and so he's it looks like it's going to help him there. I don't want to. Saying I don't want to rush him is kind of weird because like he's already been out for almost 9 weeks. Like, so I still want to make sure that he's right. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're going to need all hands on deck, it looks like, for this season. The way things are working out, we need to make sure that everybody's going to, because as it's been said, on this show, the best ability is availability. And we just want to make sure that all these guys come back soon. So,
yeah. No, and I agree with you. I mean, one, I don't think you can save Trevor completely for the playoffs. Obviously, he has to kind of get some playing time prior to that and kind of get the ball rolling type of thing. I don't know exactly what are the details that's going on with him. I don't know whether maybe perhaps, hey, let's wait till the All-Star break after that, and then let's kind of roll you in type of thing. Hopefully, it's not too late by then, type of thing. Hopefully the Lakers can pick it up by then and kind of kick it a little bit into gear and see what happens. But yeah, like I said, Trevor Ariza is 36 years old. The reason why they have the debridement because he has some issues in there, whether arthritic, whether bone spurs, whether scar tissue, whatever it is. They want to make sure and use him and get him as healthy as possible so he can be able to do that long run when assuming that they do get into the playoffs and you go to the finals.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Marco. If you could do us a favor, please let everybody know the best way to keep in touch and to keep up with what you've got going on.
Yeah, sounds good. If you guys have any questions regarding injuries, feel free to DM me on my Instagram or follow me at MarcoA17. Also, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Evolve Athletic Performance, where I put weekly tips on sports medicine. This week, I just went ahead and dropped IT band syndrome. So if you ever have that little knee discomfort on the side of the knee, go check it out for tips on how to release it, how to address it, and how to treat it.
All right. Thank you so much, Marco. You have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So that was Marco Nunez. I believe we had some audio issues on Clubhouse for hearing Marco, and I apologize about that. Marco is basically telling us that the Lakers are going to be 100% healthy real soon. And
well, we hope, right?
Yeah, no, he didn't necessarily say that, everybody.
Was that a promise?
But we're hoping that.
We're hoping
that. Yeah, we're hoping that. At least he didn't drop any bombs on us like he did last week.
Yes.
Last week, he let it out that he saw a text or a tweet that possibly this was LeBron's last season.
Whoa.
But we couldn't confirm that. So we did look, but he was like, oh no. He looked like he dropped a spoiler on Jimmy Kimmel or something, but he shouldn't have done it.
He's like, whoops.
Oh yeah.
Did I say that? You're live, man. You're live.
All right. So Laker game's still going on. So I'd like to start here. We've got Fredo Cervantes in studio.
Yes,
Thank you again for joining, Fredo. We really, really appreciate it. We always love having you on the show.
Yeah.
You're definitely a friend of the show. That's for sure. So what I would like to know is what you've been up to, because I know you've been busy, but tell us a little bit about what you've been up to. And then let's get into the Chargers, because that's been keeping you pretty busy there.
Yeah. So, of course, NFL season's underway, going right there, keeping my eye very close on the LA Chargers here. Yeah. Of course, they are very hot, but I don't know what happened today. I know we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But yeah, guys, the Fredo Show, of course, every Sunday, 8 o'clock. It's been off the air for about a month now. Every past Sunday, like I told Jeff earlier this week, every Sunday has been something. It's been Halloween. The following one, I was the Charlotte and Clipper game, and then the following Sunday was my birthday. The following
happy
one was,
birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
And then the following one was Sunday Night Football last Sunday night at the Steelers. So it's just been pretty busy, keeping my eyes within sports. Lakers, a good month, I believe, because there's something I do want to talk when we do get into Lakers about Russell Westbrook, why he's going to be very key in winning a championship this year. You might be thinking, well, is there really a chance we can win one? There is, with Russell Westbrook really behind the ball, but that is something we'll touch a little bit later.
Okay.
But yes, guys, that's something that's been going up. But I know you mentioned about the Chargers.
Tell us about the Chargers a little bit.
Yeah, so a little bit of summary. We're already ending Week 12 today. We ended Week 12. There's another big game going on right now between the AFC and the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. But the LA Chargers themselves, they've really had a very hot start. I don't know if you guys remember. They started 4-1, 4-1 after beating the Raiders and I'm looking at the Raider hat. I'm kind of just like, well, I'm pretty sure you know what happened.
Yeah, he knows what happened.
I know what happened, man.
You saw what happened on October 4th.
He was there
at SoFi Stadium. Yes. Especially at the beginning. I mean, the electricity came down and it hit us hard. Everything went off right there.
I knew it was an omen when it was like thundering and lightning. And I'm like, okay, we playing the Chargers and then literally lightning bolts. Okay.
Right. So that was a crazy night. That's been a crazy time. But, talking about the Chargers, it's Justin Herbert. If you guys have been seeing what Justin Herbert's been all about, even last season when he took over after that horrific bad injection to Tyrod Taylor, then all of a sudden, hey, get in there, kid, 15 minutes prior to kickoff against the Chiefs at home with no fans. That was a very good game. But from there till today, he's just been one of the best NFL quarterbacks that you can really see. Because what you see in this guy right here, a lot of people say, hey, that's Peyton Manning right there. That's Peyton when it was in the second year. Their games look very, very similar. If you guys really seen
in what ways?
I mean, just they stay under control. They don't feel like they're under pressure every single time. When you look at a quarterback, you feel like once he starts seeing the pressure coming off this side or this side, they're getting out of the pocket. He's staying calm in the pocket. That's something that's very hard for a lot of quarterbacks to have, because the moment you start running around, you're going to run, you're going to get hit, fumble. There goes all those fumbles, interceptions, bad throws off one leg and whatnot. Justin Herbert just stays calm in the pocket. And when he does get off the pocket, he's a lot more dangerous. I saw a very good statistic earlier today on TV, as I was watching the Chargers when they were facing out the Denver Broncos. They said that his routes outs, once he steps out of the pocket, his percentage it's crazy. It's like 80% completion passing, leads to yards, and running off the pocket. So he's just very dangerous once he does get out of the pocket. But he's very calm staying in the pocket. So that's what makes him very good, especially the O-line too as well.
Right.
I mean, the O-line is just terrific. They got 4 new starters this season compared to what they had last year. So this team is very, very good under a young coach, and Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley, 38. He's 38 years old. McVay's also 38, if I'm correct. So you got 2 young head coaches here in LA. And of course, today, I'm pretty sure you guys saw the news today. We saw Mr. USC finally made a big splash.
Yeah.
That was
Lincoln Riley, and he's actually 38.
He's actually 38, right?
So
there's a lot of young coaches here in LA, but the LA Chargers do seem to be right now. Big loss today against a division team in the Denver Broncos. You don't really know where you're going to go after. You got 6-5 Raiders, 6-5 Broncos, 6-5 Chargers, 7-4 Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think with the AFC? Because it started pretty hot. Right? AFC, right now we're stuck.
I mean, AFC West used to be. It was at first I was thinking with the division,
right?
When it started the season. But right now, the whole AFC is kind of like turned upside down with Derrick Henry getting hurt.
Right.
And they were leading the pack. We thought that the Buffalo Bills are going to be better than what they are. They're dropping some games that they should be winning. The only ones that look like they're consistent are the Ravens, and they won today against the Browns. So now they're 8-3, and they're number 1 in the AFC right now. But as you can say before, I mean, there's I don't want to call it mediocrity. I would say it's more parity. It's like a lot of teams that can beat each other up. And that's what you're seeing the effects of. It's not like the NFC, when the NFC have a couple of front runners. Right. The AFC is really more tightly contested. And so, going just to the game you were talking about, the Broncos, I just chalk it up as a fluke. The Broncos play good defense, though, and they also have good DBs. And so when you have those DBs that like to press, those guys got to get off. I love Keenan Allen. I love Mike Williams. But sometimes, as big as Mike Williams is, he should be getting off a lot better off the line of scrimmage than he does. Keenan Allen is a route running fool. He knows how to run routes, so I'm not worried about him. But if you have him under control, and then your number 1 receiver from pretty much that is like Cook, it's like, it should be more there. And I think they're getting it. And it's only year 2 for Herbert. So I think it's sky's limit in terms of him. I wish we had him.
Every other team says that. We wish we have him, and he gets compared a lot to Patrick Mahomes. They're like, well, after Patrick, who's a better quarterback right now? You have a lot of great guys. Of course, Tom Brady's still in the picture.
Right.
Who thought
can't count him out?
You can't count him out to when 2025 or so, 3 more years,
dude. How
you can't count him out until you actually see proof that he's aging.
Right. Because after he's just coming off a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, you just can't. He could be 65 and you still have to. You can't count him out until you see it with your own eyes. At this point, he's earned that. He's earned that. That's for sure. With the Chargers now. I have a question for you. Okay, so I know that you've probably been following the Chargers a bit closer now that they've come to LA. Pat, maybe you can fill in a little bit here, but what I've heard when the Chargers were coming here, I heard a lot about the ownership, Spanos and this and that, and them maybe possibly getting in the way of success. What are they doing different? Are they allowing it? Have they just not put their foot in their mouth yet? What's going on there?
So with ownership, this is a funny story because as soon as you said ownership, Spanos, it came back to my mind. About 2 months ago, prior to the season starting, there was a major story that broke out, a little more insight in what really happened and what's happening right now at the moment, because it seems like, of course, you guys might look at the Buzz situation, what happened a few years ago when, Genie took over the show, brother, sister, blah, blah, blah. Same situation happening right now. But right now, apparently one of the Spanos brothers or sisters, they're in debt of, it's just a ridiculous number. I don't even want to say because I forgot the number. It's ridiculous. And so they're like, well, the only way we're going to get off of this situation is by selling the team. So there's a battle within the organization right now in the family. They're trying to sell the team. I mean, it's a story that's really not being covered as much, but that is really happening right now as we sit here and talk. I mean, they're trying to find a way to sell the team, even though they're, Dean Spano, he's like, nope, not selling. We're keeping it. Everybody else wants to sell. So that's something that's going on right now, which is something that I'm surprised it doesn't really get much attention, because a story like that should get a lot of attention.
Yes.
So when you look at that, you can see, well, who's going to maybe buy this, organization now, who's now with SoFi Stadium, what comes with this? Same thing that happened with the Clippers back then.
Well, you have to assume, Pat, that if that's the case, the people that are now screaming hey, let's sell the team, they knew that they were going to do that, and they wanted to push this team to LA just to increase the value.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that was the move. I mean, the move was to increase the franchise value. I mean, once you go from the San Diego market to the LA market, you automatically put $1 billion.
You can't lose, even if you don't gain one new fan. You've still gained.
You're gonna Donald Sterling this thing if you have to. I mean, Donald Sterling was doing the write-offs, and he had basically the Clippers were making money for him. Even though the Clippers sucked on the court, he was still making money on the Clippers. Same thing with Spanos. Spanos moves the team to LA. He's going to make still money on the Clippers, even though there were no people in the stands. He's still now. What I see right now, and which I think is a great approach, is the way they're like, okay, we're going to let the Rams have this market right now. Like they're because the Rams are doing all this like extra stuff, right? They're doing all the bells and whistles. It's pretty much championship or bust. You can tell by their way they're moving. They're trading first round picks for proven players. They're in win now mode. The Chargers are looking like they're like, okay, if that's the case, we're going to keep it. We're going to build organically. We're going to get our pieces in place, and we're going to be just a solid football team. And when the Rams collapse, which looks like, I mean, if they don't hit on these picks, if they don't get to the championship within the next couple of years, then everything they're doing right now is all for naught. And it just doesn't make any sense how they're going to recover from that when they don't have any draft capital. So you now have, the Chargers biding their time, letting the market come to them. And the only way you can do that is by winning. And if you win and you got a hot shot quarterback, you pretty much at this point got the best quarterback in the city because, I mean, Stafford is Stafford, but he's not older. Yeah, he's a little older. There's no potential there.
You have the brightest future.
Yeah, you have the brightest future. So you just stay the course.
Quarterback-wise.
Yeah, you stay the course. You got Eckler. You got some pieces. Like, stay the course, and things will work out. You just got to win in LA. That's what the main thing is. You have to win.
It is. It's win or go home. What are you seeing about LA fans as far as, because we bring that up. The fans are win or go home. We are definitely LA is a demanding market, but they hadn't had a team in a long time.
Okay, hold on a second, guys.
Yeah, I see this. Yes.
This is what I'm talking about right now. See, I know, I mean, I don't want to hijack the segment right now, but I'm looking at this game. I mean, they're fouling, but why is it 104 or 108 in the fourth quarter? When they up by like 20 points and almost like 18 points, you knew it was going to happen. Look, man, we're going to. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm like, look, man. So,
Pat.
No, I'm just saying, like, we're going to keep on talking a little football right now, but at the same time, we got to get back into this game. We got to get back into the Lakers because this is the life now. We have to watch us go against mediocre teams. And scratch and claw for wins. This is
at home
with at home, and the problem is it's with the squad.
With LeBron,
and it's with the squad. You know what I'm saying? It's not like back in the day when we were kind of like, yo, here we go, hey, Chris Mims, he's doing, he's oh man, he had a nice game, 14 points and rebounds. You're like, you're happy with that? Hey, Brian Grant, you're doing your thing there, guy. Like that, that squad, Caron Butler, man, he's really a part of it. He's the piece. He's really the piece from the trade. We're trying to talk ourselves into this stuff. We had no squad, but we were able to go ahead and claw some wins out. Now we got a squad right now.
No excuses.
And it's just no excuses right now. And I'm all out of excuses. I mean, I tried to make some before. They didn't work. It's all backfiring on me. So I'm at this point. I'm at a loss. I think. Look, man, I'm just going ahead and say, man, we're gonna have to fire the coach, dude.
All right, hand. Nope, that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
No,
that wasn't it. Find it.
Nothing.
There it is.
All right, the sound
Find it.
effects. That's your
Okay.
job. You usually do the sound effects.
So yes, but at the same time, like, we have our editor edit that out.
Yeah. Right. producer. Where are you?
Producer. Who's that producer? Jeff.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's time, dude. I think it's time. I mean,
You have to hold them accountable.
You got to hold them accountable at this point. What do you think, Fredo?
Well,
I'm sorry to take over.
No, good thing that
Hey,
you brought that up,
Fredo.
because that is something that I've been thinking about this week, and just looking at the bad loss on Friday night. I mean, just watching that game itself, it's just reminding me of that 2012, 2013 year where we try to build with Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Mike D'Antoni overplaying Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, the great. He overplayed him. Achilles happened. This year, LeBron played 50 minutes on Friday nights. I mean, he's 30. He's about to be 37, I believe he is. He can't be playing 50 goddamn minutes. He just cannot be doing that.
Not for that win.
No,
Not for that win.
He should be sitting in the fourth.
Thank you.
He should be. And one thing that I noticed during the third quarter, right? No, it was second overtime. During the second overtime, there was 4 possessions in a row where LeBron got the ball inbound and gave it right to West. Got the ball, gave it right. He was tired. He was just tired. And you see what happened in the third overtime. He just didn't have it. I mean, it's not just him, everybody else. But you cannot allow LeBron James to play 50 minutes. Plain and simple. You just can't.
No.
You just can't.
No. And that's where, going back to what we're talking about. I mean, it's just, you have a squad now. Why is he playing 50 minutes? It's
right.
Because the squad is not performing.
Yeah, and
so this supposed squad that we have is actually not a squad.
No, it's not.
So that's the truth, and it's being shown now. We've seen this before. We were talking about coaching and so forth, but when you say, okay, let's fire Vogel, and I'm not against that at this point. I think Vogel's been exposed.
Of course.
I think he's been exposed. I think the problem that you have right now is, and it doesn't matter, the championship is there, but everyone who says, oh, the bubble was a fluke, Vogel is kind of making that a legit argument, or more legit. And so let's just say, okay, so Vogel takes the heat right now because you're not going to trade players. You're not going to get anything for these players.
Yeah.
No.
So Vogel takes the heat. Fine. You fire him. Who takes his place? Are they better? Who's out there? When you have a vacancy now, you've got this void.
You want to bring Luke back?
Yeah, right. He is available, by the way.
He is available.
Who exactly are you bringing someone up from the bench? Where are we going with that? Because and it's not like just any team. It's a LeBron team. So it's very hard to find a coach that even wants to run that squad, yet alone can do it successfully. So we're saying get rid of Vogel, but everyone who says, oh, these are problems, do that. But what is the solution?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't have a solution. I'm just looking at the situation. It's like, okay, if I stay on this same course, we're in the 7th seed right now. I mean, I know in about early start of last week, you start hearing basically a lot of the glass half full arguments. Like, they still 1.5 games out of the 4th spot. You heard that.
Yeah,
stuff.
but it's drifting.
And you looking at the standings.
And first is getting further.
Right. I'm looking at the standings but we in 7th place though. I get that. I get that. Yes. And you think about that, sunshine pumping. Yes, I get that. But we're still in 7th place. And so now we're below 500. We're scratching for wins against teams like the Detroit Pistons. At home. It's just really hard to watch that. And I know we were talking earlier about Trevor Ariza and Kendrick Nunn, but that's not going. Look, do we need defense on the wing? Yes, I think, but
that's not the difference maker.
That's not going to be the difference maker. I don't think.
No way.
And then it goes into okay, if you traded out defense for offense, basically this offseason, right? You did that. You traded out defense for offense, and so you essentially took whatever advantage that Vogel felt that he was basically a defensive-minded coach, and you pretty much gave him offensive players. So like you were saying, he's being exposed because he doesn't know what the hell to do with offensive players. Now, give him some dogs, give him some Dobermans out there. He's going to go ahead. He'll crush you. He'll go ahead and trap you. He'll get that game into a point where it's going to be a defensive fourth quarter, and team's going to make plays. But we don't have that now. and we need to be able to use our strengths and and showcase those strengths. And he is just incapable, I think, at this point.
Fredo, is it time? Can we finally say they're jumping on LeBron's back right now, celebrating this win and knocking him out? I don't know.
wow.
Did he score like his millionth point or something? Fredo, can we finally say that preseason does matter? Everyone who's sitting there going, oh, it's only preseason. Dude, we went winless. We were trying to keep positive. For us, the Lakers preseason is usually a precursor to how the season's going to start. If they come out strong, they play strong. When they come out losing, it's a culture. You learn to accept it. Can we finally get past the preseason means nothing, at least with the Lakers squad?
Well, it does definitely mean something. You definitely need that preseason time, and especially when you have a lot of new players on your team. But it doesn't fit for this Laker team because of the age. I mean, when you look at these guys, you have a greater chance of them getting hurt if you play them during the preseason. So you're going to be like, no, you know what? I'm going to keep them on the side. Wait till the season actually starts when it really matters. If it was a young team, I mean, throw them in there, start playing game one, game of the preseason, like if it's a real deal.
Yeah.
But for this team, I don't think it works. But one thing you did say, Pat, about Frank Vogel, how he just kind of seems like he lost it. I personally feel after watching Friday night's game, watched a little bit of the first half today as I was coming over here, I think he lost the group. I think he lost the team. I think that's very key that he just lost his team. This team's not buying in. Otherwise, there were so many defensive mistakes and just being lazy on the court. I mean, if you're the head coach, I'm pretty sure you pointed those things out early in the season. You should not be doing that still a month later. You know? So things like that, I feel like, well, if you're not going to pay attention to the coach, you're not going to hustle out there. You're just lazy out there. You're losing games, especially with the type of team that you have. I mean, this is 6, 7 future Hall of Famers in one team. So when you look at that, you see that he lost it. He's done. One guy I do want to bring up to the table, which I feel like it's going to come out of nowhere. You'll hear the name around, but I feel like he might be key. You might be like, well, he might be out of the game. Kurt Rambis.
That's funny. That's the name that came to me.
Kurt Rambis, when you think about what Kurt Rambis means to the Lakers from back in the 80s to what he did with Phil Jackson throughout the years, winning, five rings under Phil Jackson here with the Lakers and Kobe, I think he can really get it done, even though he didn't have success in Minnesota. He didn't have success in New York. He can do it here now, especially because he is a very key voice in the Lakers organization right now. He's a very key voice next to Rob Pelinka. So maybe Rob might just turn the keys and be like, hey, you know what, Kurt, take this. Even though LeBron, I don't know how he's going to feel about that, but Kurt Rambis might be a guy that I feel he can handle personalities, and he's already inside the group. He's already inside, knows what's going on, everything. But I feel like Kurt Rambis might be a cool guy who can maybe take over right now.
I mean, like you said, he's definitely in there. And I mean,
is Kurt Rambis a championship coach?
I don't know if it made him choke right there, Pat.
Right? Exactly.
No. But no, he might not be. I mean,
if we do, I mean, I look, I like Kurt. Like you said, he's dedicated his life. He's loyal, Lakers, this and that. But if they end up putting Kurt into this team and he takes over for Vogel and we do win a championship, you are going to hear that this was a LeBron squad. Kurt just came. I mean, I talk about even more. You're going to hear that LeBron coached this team to a championship. But I really don't know who's out there, with the exception of course, you named him, who Kurt worked with, Phil Jackson.
No.
I mean, I of course, after calling LeBron in his group, those words he used back then, I'm pretty sure LeBron won't like that, but I'm pretty sure he might be like, MJ, Kobe.
LeBron wants to win.
Come over here, Phil.
LeBron wants to win.
Okay, so
if Kobe can say okay after the book,
LeBron can say yes.
Okay, but look, here's the technicalities. Bring it up.
No. Go for it. Because
I was going to say, I'm like, yeah, you bring him in. First of all, he doesn't have a preseason to institute his offense. Right. His offense is completely different. None of his coaching staff is here. You'd have to assemble all that. So he would need time to do that, but who knows if that's working behind the scenes. But I don't believe Phil Jackson is a mid-season
I mean, coach. he was pretty close in coming in when they got Mike D'Antoni. He was supposed to. November. He was supposed to.
He was the Buddy Hield.
He was he was about about to come mid-season that year to try to take over. So, I mean, we're talking about, 8 years later, how his health is and what shape he's in right now. Can he really travel up and down? Maybe Kurt Rambis might be the guy that might travel with the team.
Are we doing that? Because remember, that was a rumor that the reason why we didn't hire him because he was trying to do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, when
he was like, he wasn't going to travel. It was going to be like he was going to go and just do the home games. And then they're going to have his squad go over there and just do the road games. And I'm like, you need continuity. I don't think that's going to work. Right. Now, one thing, because I love Phil just like the next person, right? I love me some Phil, right? But like you said, triangle offense is really hard to learn, period. And to be able to learn it on the fly, don't know the IQ of that team, this team right now is that high. Now, Rondo will get it. LeBron will get it. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's just players that will get it. Reese, obviously, right? He'll be a coach on the floor. But if we're talking about Popovich and how like we think that Popovich is not in tune with today's player, I can't see how in the world that Phil Jackson is going to be any in tune.
He pretty much incinerated that at the Knicks when he was in the offices there at the Knicks, pretty much incinerated any understanding of player culture these days.
I just don't see how he can come in and coach the young kids, like not young kids, but just like.
But we don't have a young. We
have veterans, so and of course his name resonates with these people, with these players. But
every single player on that squad would listen to him if he came in.
Right. Who you gotta get? You gotta get Jimmy back.
He's the one.
Hamlin. You gotta get the whole band back together.
He's the one coach that you would actually say for sure would not bow down to LeBron and would hold him accountable.
Right.
Sure.
Is there any other coach that you can think of maybe that Popovich isn't coming?
I mean, what about Coach K? He's about to leave Duke. I mean, is he? But
he's not going to come in mid-season because. But going back to LeBron, like I want to say that we need a coach to hold him accountable, but I'm thinking like, for what at this point? Because I'm looking at right now in the court, he's the best player we got now by far.
It's everyone else that needs to be
by far.
You know what? I wouldn't be against Byron Scott again.
Oh no,
I wouldn't be against him.
I mean, that's where we're at now. Exhausted to play the games with those practices.
That's where we're at now. You talking about getting ran in the ground?
Talking about practice.
Practice.
Oh my practice. No,
not the game.
I don't want Byron. I'd take a Worthy.
I'll keep Vogel.
I'll put Worthy in there for the rest.
I'll keep Vogel.
Over that one, I'll just keep Vogel.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're going to have to because
again, what's out there?
And then, but
don't be surprised if we have a new coach by Christmas night. Don't be surprised.
Man, okay. Well, I mean, if we're 3-4 games under 500 by Christmas, if we're going in there looking like 10 and 15, 10 and 16, 17, whatever the game will be, if we're like going on a losing streak, he might not make it to Christmas because I mean, how can you?
Even this Friday night, we got the Clippers at home.
Yeah, and a good blowout. And I mean, hey, the Clippers got blown out today.
Yeah. Let's not forget that. Put that out there.
No, I'm definitely.
But if the Clippers come in,
don't forget that,
and beat this squad
with no Kawhi, just PG, Terrence Mann, Zubats. I mean, if they do come and do that,
and Tyronn Lue, the one that we didn't hire.
Right.
I mean, they've got things to prove. He didn't want to come for the year. Yeah, I know. But they didn't give him the money. They didn't give him the contract. They could have. The same deal with Caruso.
Oh,
they didn't give him the money. They didn't give him the contract.
Don't forget about Monty Williams neither. Don't forget about Monty Williams.
Right.
Don't forget about that one too.
But if we look at it right now, we see Tyronn, we see Monty, and we see Vogel. Who got the chip?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Are we saying that those others wouldn't have got the chip?
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
Who knows? Very tough.
Unless that defense. I mean, I can't. That bubble defense was hot. I ain't gonna lie. That defense was on another level.
They just had this bond that month. They had a bond that just was not going to be touched and broken.
Yeah, it was.
Of course, it was maybe because of Kobe's situation, but that was something that kind of kept them together.
Yeah, I just think. I think LeBron's experience in that, seeing that moment and knowing that this is different than any other time in NBA history, and they have an opportunity, even if they're not maybe the best team, they can do it just by coming together and being the most consistent. And they did that. So it really was the most consistent team in the bubble. That's why I think THT is so good, to be honest with you, because this guy as a rookie was encapsulated in a bubble with the best in the world, couldn't leave, couldn't go to clubs, couldn't go have fun. All he did was sit there and learn basketball with LeBron James, the best players in the world. He had no choice. There was no distractions for all of those months that he was in there. You cannot put a price on that, I think. And I think it'll pay huge dividends. And I think they know that. That was an investment. And that's why they're keeping THT. And I'm a huge fan of THT, but they've said that they could have traded THT, that was a key piece. We know that other teams are going to want, but I really think that
talking about trade, I did hear something. I'm not sure if you guys got a chance to listen to this, but I don't like it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will like it. I'm pretty sure both of you two would be up for it. This is maybe going to lead me to Russell Westbrook. On December 14th, you're eligible to trade every single player on your roster. As of right now, you're limited to who you can move. By December 14th, you'll be able to move Russell Westbrook in that gigantic contract. Do you really want to move a hometown kid, UCLA kid, out of this team the way this team's been playing with him and AD and LeBron? Maybe. Who might be available? Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons. Would any of those two guys fit better with LeBron and AD than Russell Westbrook?
Lillard's a no-brainer. You do that. But Simmons,
I mean, he's a clutch sports. You look at Ben Simmons, he's a clutch sports. Right. He's not going to play nothing out there. Or maybe John Wall. I mean, John Wall ain't nothing right now. We saw what happened, a story that maybe broke out earlier today by Woj. He said that, Houston's not going to deal with him. They're not going to give him the playing time that he wants. He wants to be a starter. He might still have something in the tank in John Wall. See, 9 years in the league so far? Yeah, he's gone through his injuries.
So what spot are you trying to fill? Ball handler? What are you trying to?
Well, that's what I saw and heard about Russell Westbrook maybe being traded after this, using that money and that contract for one of these guys. I won't do that. I'm a person that would want to keep Russell Westbrook here because I feel like
Let's see here if
I think we're going to keep him.
Let's see if Andre is available here on Clubhouse. Let's go to Clubhouse really quick. Andre, are you there? How are you? Let's go. Let's talk. You're in.
You said the word Westbrook. I knew you were energized.
Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you, sweetie?
Hello.
So we squeaked out a win. How did you feel about it?
Terrible, but nonetheless, do you want me to expound on that, or we?
Oh, you definitely
go ahead, please.
We're talking about Westbrook. We're talking Westbrook.
Okay. First and foremost, the win tonight. I feel like we had really good momentum when we were up by 16, but in great Laker fashion, we always let the foot off the gas, take the foot off their neck, and let them back in the game and give these terrible teams hope. And this is my problem. We hold everybody subpar except for 2 players on the opposing team, but we only win by 4. You've got to be kidding me. We need to start taking care of the ball, making our free throws, and keeping the momentum on defense. We played actually not bad of a game. We just can't be letting them in the game. Nonetheless, I'm seeing an improvement. Surprise, surprise, in Russell Westbrook. I think he's getting it a little bit. It might be too slow for us, though. So I really wanted to chime in on the additional piece that we could bring into LA.
Please.
You guys are going to be so shocked by me, but I think Damian Lillard is far-fetched. Yeah. Of course, that would be the perfect fit. I think we would all be in agreement. If there's anybody that wouldn't pick him first, you're crazy, right? Second piece, forget John Wall. I don't even know if you'll be able to walk to the bathroom without breaking your knees, right? So I'm going to go for Ben Simmons. I'm going to go for the guy that has the same body type as LeBron, has higher IQ, can distribute, make a better AD, a better Dwight Howard, a better DeAndre Jordan next to him. Not going to clog the paint because there's no offense called for our big men, right? He's going to play great with the second unit that gets to run faster. Can you imagine like a Malik Monk getting more minutes next to a THT with Ben Simmons running the distribution next to Carmelo? Oh my God, he can run the 5. And then he can help us on our defensive end as well. We don't look as bad. So I'm thinking either Dame or Ben at that line. If we can't pull off, I'm talking about a perfect winning streak moving forward, no losses. We gotta bite the bullet. This is year 19. LeBron's gonna be 38. We got stuff to do. We got stuff to win. You need to go on ahead and pull the trigger.
All right. So is there a way to revisit the Healed deal with Westbrook now? Is there any possible way to go back?
You remember that time that Rondo spit in CP3 face?
Yeah. That was it. That's what the Lakers
exactly
did to
what Buddy Hield
feels like.
Yeah, that's exactly what that would be. Like, he would be like, "Are you serious? Like, if my agent answers the phone to take your call, I'm firing him." I think Buddy Hield is off of us. It would be nice, but I think he's off of us.
All right. So you're still going. So what if you're getting rid of it, you're making that trade, because if they're not turning the corner here soon, like you said, you bring up Ben Simmons. Are you giving LeBron the ball? Is he our ball handler? What is your plan?
Yes, he's always the ball handler.
Okay, so just accept it, take it, and move forward.
Yeah, I just think that Ben Simmons, the reason why it wasn't working in Philly, he needs to play a point forward. He needs to move to a forward position. And if he does that, we can literally get AD off the floor sometimes, push him to the 5. He can see less minutes too, and so can Bron. You can interchange that piece of Ben Simmons. That's what makes him so great. He himself can literally help both AD and Bron interchangeably.
Yeah, I believe that. And what, going back to what you were saying about just him able to play defense. I mean, that's one we need. We don't have anybody that have like a defensive, like straight mentality, like that's going out there, that's going to get on the floor, that's going to like who's our Crusoe here?
Who's our stopper?
I know we got Reeves. Are we really waiting on Reeves?
He's
really,
our energy.
Yeah. Are we really waiting on that? Like, who else is getting on the floor?
It's Kendrick Nunn.
Am I hoping? I'm just hoping, because at this point in time, like, we're just a poverty franchise. Like, we're just begging. We're out there begging. Like, we're just
any light bulbs.
Anybody could help out. Because it's like we have out there right now. I even saw it wasn't the Kings game. It was a game before that. I forgot who we played, and LeBron played the 5 better than AD were playing the 5 this year. And I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like, look at LeBron. Look at LeBron, 6'9", playing the 5.
Yeah, he can do that. He can play.
But he's playing IQ, it. Right? But he's playing. Yeah, he's playing it, and it's like kind of like, guys, everybody got to step their game up. And I don't look. I love me some AD, and I'm happy he's healthy. But something about his language, what he's saying. It's almost felt like he has nothing else to prove. And I know he was on this revenge tour, it looks like, but the wins are not showing. So it's like, he can be on the revenge tour, he could be doing his thing, but if the wins are not showing up, so now he's not as enthusiastic, because if he had a record that was like, I got to maintain this, this 18-5 record, he'll be like, okay, I got to keep my numbers up. I got to make sure we're all on the same page. But now he's losing, he's taking these L's. LeBron wasn't in there, and he doesn't seem like the leader that we need him to be.
As personal as we'd like.
Yes, it's like, people are like getting mad, and that's what I'm saying. Who's the people that I see on the court that is really diving for these balls? I mean, look, and another thing, why are we playing certain people on the court? Like, why are we playing? I'm looking, man.
Well, I was on Clubhouse earlier, and everybody on Dre, go ahead and chime in. Everybody's screaming, "What the heck is DJ doing out there?"
Okay, there we go.
Everybody's screaming. That alone may get Vogel fired.
There we go.
All on his own. What do you think, Dre?
That's perfect sense. I'm the first one on that train. I don't understand if Dwight really has beef with AD. I don't know if Dwight can't be injured. I don't know what's going on. Why Dwight, a future Hall of Famer, can't see the floor.
He took the Montrezl Harrell path.
Non-athletic. I don't know what it is, because DeAndre Jordan, after he was, let's be honest with ourselves. DeAndre Jordan was his best self when he was an athletic creature. It's much like the Russell Westbrook story. Russell Westbrook is a great athlete. That's what DeAndre Jordan was. No basketball IQ, nothing like that. You're just a great athlete. His athleticism is gone now. Literally, when you put Dwight Howard in the game for the same amount of minutes, like you're matching minute for minute with DeAndre Jordan, he doubles the stats every time. The last game, I think the game before last, he had in 9 minutes only played, he had 8 points, 9 boards, and assists. And sometimes we'll get goose eggs from DeAndre Jordan and like 10 boards, and that's it. Like, literally, we're going to have to make some adjustments. Like, this makes absolutely no sense. DeAndre Jordan, he literally deserves to be out of the league. He doesn't believe
Yes.
he belong on a roster.
He's retired.
Oh, wow.
He should be retired. I mean, he definitely should be retired. And going back to like, well, yeah, what is it about Vogel and having like big men that he can't coach?
He's not a big
You know,
man
it's
coach,
like he's
right?
not a big man coach. Like he can't. It's like he has talented big men. I mean, look, I'm not saying that Andre Drummond was great,
But
why does he look a whole lot better over there in Philly than he did here? Like it just doesn't make any sense. You know, like, okay, we're trying to force him in on there. We kind of like, you know, at the expense of Harrell. And you see Harrell's now back to being Harrell.
yeah,
Like the Harrell that we wanted to.
Yeah, we turned
know
him
what I'm
into
saying?
nothing.
And it's like, wait a minute, man. Like, and then it's like, okay, basically AD is just like dump it into him and let him go to work.
Well, there's a difference though there.
Mhm.
Stat Pad, there's a difference there though, because Andre Drummond came to the Lakers, right? He literally did what he was supposed to do. We brought him here for rebounding. I think because it was such an issue on offense and we needed more scoring because of injuries, it pointed a hole, and he's never been that smart player. He's always been that player that's going to do putbacks and rebounds, and he did that. I think the problem with him in Philly is he's not asked for much. They have way more firepower, way more defense over there. And ding, 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 the man is playing for a doggone contract. When
Right.
money is
Of
over your
course.
head, you play a whole lot harder. You like literally, that's the difference. That's literally the difference.
I'd like to know. Let's go to Fredo here really quick. Fredo,
Yes.
there's a lot of hype. Andrea brought up the possibility. We all know Ben Simmons is not happy. Questions as to his availability because he says he's not mentally ready prepared to play. So I'm guessing that's just a Kawhiism of I'm not going to play for this team as long as I possibly can. But that's got to make other teams kind of go, unless they have information in the back, which the Lakers would, being that they have clutch, of course. But what would that trade package look like? What is Philly going to take from the Lakers that the Lakers have for Ben Simmons?
Well, of course, you got to throw in Russell Westbrook. Of course, you make the money.
Well, they have
work.
to take it.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to want that contract and see how that's going to help with Embiid.
With Embiid, but honestly, I think that might be a better pair. Having Westbrook and Embiid, so maybe Philly might look at it, and Doc Rivers might look at it, and they might be like, "Oh, well, you know, let's take it." But who we're gonna take? Of course, you know, one person I would love to take back from Philly, besides Ben Simmons, is Seth Curry. Just another. I mean, that guy's a shooter. I mean, we should have signed him in the offseason. We had a chance.
We had a chance,
but I guess money wasn't right. Money wasn't all there. But Seth Curry is another guy who we can maybe steal. But of course, Russell Westbrook, you might have to throw in there. Dwight Howard, you might have to go back to Philly one way or another.
So now we have Ben Simmons, but we do not have Dwight Howard, and we're counting on DeAndre.
To be honest with you guys,
AD goes to 5.
No one's going to
money wise. No, we don't have to give him up.
But no one's going to take anything that we're offering
That's
unless you attach THT to the trade.
Do it.
I'm saying that is the only way things move. The Lakers are so strapped and they're so desperate, and they know they're trying to offload Westbrook. No, they're not going to just give us Ben Simmons just to give us Ben Simmons. There's no way.
No one's going to. Nobody goes out of their way to help the Lakers.
Only Lakers do stuff like that. Only Lakers would trade Shaq for Brian Grant and Lamar Odom and Brian and Karan Butler. Only we would do stuff like that. We would only take stuff like that. No, there's no way that we would get rid of Westbrook unless THT is with him on the way out. And look, man, if we're holding on to him now, I don't know. I mean, if you had the opportunity to trade him in the offseason to get a better piece, you should have done it then.
I agree too.
And so now you want to keep him. I mean, why trade him again? It's just like we're pretty much at a standstill. I love Ben Simmons on this team. I would love him on this team because I think he's going to bring a different intensity, and also he's going to be able to, like you said, to be that point forward, pushing that rock, getting us in transition. Getting the rebound. I mean, doing things that we want Russell Westbrook to do right now. Now, to be fair, though, Andrea, I know we've been on his head this whole season, but of the big three, he's been pretty consistent these past 2 weeks.
Getting better.
He's been getting better. His turnovers are pretty much run down. I mean, he's always doing that one occasional bonehead play a game. But he's been a lot better. I'm not truly satisfied, but like you were saying, it might be a slow burn. Like we might have to wait. Second half Russ might, because we all hear that, right? Second half Russ. So I don't know. I mean, I want to go ahead and get better, but it just looks like the cost is going to be too great right now.
To me, it doesn't sound like we have what it would take to get that done.
It's going to be very hard. You might have to use a third team, fourth team, who knows, whatever they can maybe put up. But, Rob Pelinka always has plan A, plan B, C, and D. He's going to find multiple ways to try to make it work, especially because he is maybe a Clutch Sports client. May be a little easier, especially because he's not getting any playing time. If he was on the court right now, it would have been much harder. But he's not on the court. So Philly's literally not doing anything with that piece, just sitting out.
Yeah. So
they might just want to say, hey, you know what? Give me Russ, first rounder, second rounder, whatever they can figure it out. But honestly, the problem is maybe not Russell Westbrook as much as we want to look at it. It has to be Frank Vogel. That is the biggest thing. And it's just like I mentioned earlier. I mean, I don't think the teams bought in. Yeah, they beat the Detroit Pistons by 4 points today. But like you guys said, this is not really anything special.
No, they're not getting the wins they're supposed to get. And even though they pulled this out, they should have been resting in the fourth. We know this. Okay. Now we know there's, like you said, in the NFL, there's parity. Things are getting better, but not with this squad. Not with this talent. Like you said, are we seriously waiting for Ariza? Is that it? If that's it, Vogel doesn't even know how to use him properly. So we're going to be in trouble if that's what we're waiting for. I'd like to start holding this squad, specifically the Lakers, more accountable to an entire season, meaning that next preseason, it matters. I'm not counting those games, but yeah, I'm looking to build some momentum, not go 0-8, because that does carry over. They literally they stumbled upon nothing in the preseason. They didn't find anything that worked, and they still are just now barely finding a few things that work. If anything, Vogel needs that time with his players.
Yes. Well, let's see if he's even here for the preseason next year.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question too. Let's finish that up really quick. We're almost at the end of the show here. I have a question for you. Is it, even if Vogel makes it through the year, is it championship or bust for Vogel
this year?
This year.
Hell yeah. Yeah. There's no.
If they make it to the finals and lose against Milwaukee, but if they turn this around,
I mean, at least if they make it to the Western Conference Finals, I think that's a pass. But anything before that,
it's a pass, because now we have gotten to the point like anything past the second round is gravy.
Right.
That's where we're at now.
No, even making the playoffs right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like our expectations are so low that now if we get past the second round, we're like, damn, we turned it around. We actually, if we would have started a little better, we start making excuses. You know what I'm saying? So yes,
if we start saying, hey, if we keep this team together next year, they'll build on it. But of course, we know what Pelinka's going to do.
Right.
He's going to blow it up and start again, which is the MO of this.
But one thing I don't really believe, this is a narrative that's out there. Oh, well, people are not really scared of the Lakers right now. I mean, honestly, that might be somewhat true, but nobody wants to see the Lakers at the end. No one wants to go against LeBron James, Anthony Davis, or Russell Westbrook in a 7-game series.
They know that it can start clicking. Yeah. And we all know it can start clicking at any time, which is why we're screaming Vogel. Right. We're not screaming. We're saying Westbrook, this, that, maybe for Simmons. But really, if Simmons wasn't available, we wouldn't be talking about that. So really, what we're saying is Vogel, and that's because we all know, the NBA knows, players are they're looking right now going, it's just a matter of time. If they get this going and they click, they're going to be
stay healthy, of course.
Yes. You see that it takes, of course.
Because last season in the playoffs, you see, they were up 2-1 against the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Yeah. They were up 2-1. They were looking good. Then AD went down, and everything else just kind of went downward there. 2 straight losses for the Lakers in that Game 5 and Game 6, which they lose at home. Game 6, it was just bad. You just see that when one player's down, it's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like we don't have more I guess a team to be able to pick up the slack, which is amazing, you would think, because we put all these players together, right? They should be able to, and that's why I'm so surprised at this, like what happened when LeBron went down. Like I could have swore like the reason why we got Russell Westbrook is because those two should be able to take us to where we need to go. And then if AD
any combination of two of them.
Yes, if AD is out, then LeBron and Westbrook will be able to go ahead and carry us through those games. And it just like we're begging old LeBron to come back to be the savior, which is like, at this point, what are we doing? What are we doing? It shouldn't be that way. I know you were saying about Vogel. Look, dude, Vogel is going to have to show a lot. If you're talking about if the championship a bust, I really do believe that. That's the only way he's going to get another 1 year extension, because he's not going to get multiple years extension.
No.
They're going to treat him just like they treat the minimum contracts. They're going to give him 1 year and a prove it deal and keep proving it. You know, but one thing that's glaring, the Lakers, I think, if I'm not making a mistake, I think the Lakers only won one game this year by more than 10 points.
Right.
So no blowouts, no resting in the
Against
fourth.
Houston.
No blowouts. So
that's where we're at.
Everything is difficult.
This is grinding.
And when you're watching the games, you're watching them. And even though the Lakers may win some and they go on a few small runs, it's always hard for them to score, to get it inside, especially if Rondo's not on the court. I mean, it's just difficult for them to get into their offense and to get anything going. They usually just pass it around the 3-point line. They just pass it around.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking, like, we're grinding for these wins. I forgot there was a team that there was the Grizzlies. I guess it was I think John Morant was out, and I forgot who they're playing, and they were blowing somebody else out. They're blowing them out without John Morant, and I'm thinking I'm like, hey, it works. It can happen, guys. I mean, it's one guy going out doesn't mean that the whole team got to. I know LeBron is special. I mean, LeBron is one of the greatest.
Lakers are 500, 11-11.
Dude,
right
come
now.
on, dog. Come on, dog.
11-11.
And remember, everyone was saying, like, we started off kind of slow, and they're like, well, it's a small sample size. That's just wait about 20 games.
20 games. It's always at 20 games.
Let's just wait up 20 games.
Now they're saying that.
11.
Again, I was on Clubhouse and someone actually said, I'll worry about it in January.
Huh?
And you're like, come on, man.
No,
like,
man.
Like, you're come on. No, you got to worry about it now. And let me tell you something.
Man.
If you start worried about it in January and you ain't seen no progression until then, nothing's going to all of a sudden click and start. It just doesn't work that way. So we better see something moving forward.
Especially with Frank Vogel. I don't know.
We don't expect any miracles. We haven't
no.
seen anything from him that's going to tell us something's going to change. So I would officially say that as of right now, Lakers fans and the Profanity Nation is on Vogel watch, and we're expecting news. It's rare. It's rare that you can take a loss from a win, but the fact that the Lakers barely won this game by 4 points and we're still fighting, a lot of times you say, can you take anything away from the loss? And then you say, no, a loss is a loss or whatever. But this one is, can you take away from a win? Yeah, that they barely got it, and it's still, they're having troubles.
Yep.
And they have all three players out there.
Yep.
It's just terrible. Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you, Andrea, for always joining and taking part in the Profanity Nation podcast.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Clubhouse. Thank you to everybody who joined and watched the show. We appreciate it. Thank you, Marco Nunez. As usual, always kicking it off and doing a great job. Thank you, Mr. Fredo Cervantes.
Thank you guys, man, for having me on.
Please let everybody know the best way to keep up to date with you.
Yes, just go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Fredo Cervantes, FREDOCERVANTES. Follow me there. Bring you all of my latest thoughts, concerns around the league, around sports. Of course, I never hold back. I will always say what I say, and right now I'm saying it. Fire Frank Vogel.
There it is.
That's it.
Fire Vogel.
Fire right now.
We are officially on Vogel Watch. Thank you
Vogel
very
Watch.
much. We'll be back next week, and we'll let you know exactly where Vogel went. Hopefully. We'll see. Okay, thank you so much. The Profanity Nation podcast. Thank you on Clubhouse. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Profanity Nation.
Podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Powered by Jesse Brown of Keller Williams.
The Profanity Nation is now the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers fan club on Clubhouse. Be sure to join, over 5,000 strong and growing. Also, text Lakers to 22828 for a chance to win a free t-shirt. Again, text Lakers to 22828 for a chance to win a free t-shirt.